worksheet's going to look like. Should be emailed it to you or through Google Classroom. 6 problems. As you can see here, the eraser's got in the way. I just made a modified version to help us guide us through this process here. So the directions are the same and the first problem is the same. I just added this information right here. So this is the process that you want to go through when doing these problems here. The only 2 things that we're worried about here is geometric and the divergence theorem. So obviously divergence theorem is just if the last term is not equal to 0, then the series diverges. And you literally write down diverges by the divergence theorem. Show me the limit. You can write a divergence theorem or you can write nth term test. Okay, so I always check for that first. Just look for an obvious limit that's not equal to 0. Do some math, show me it doesn't equal 0, and then just write down divergence theorem or nth term test. If this is not obvious or it looks geometric, I usually skip right to geometric. So in this case here, this one's not going to converge, and we'll see why in a minute. But we could use divergence on this one, but I don't want to, and you'll see why in a second. Anyway, so next thing you want to do is look for geometric, right? And geometric is when you're multiplying each term by a common ratio, where there's a first term and a common ratio. So usually what I do in my head or explicitly, I write out the first couple terms, though you don't really have to. That's optional. Optional. You want to figure out what the common ratio is. If the common ratio is bigger than 1, absolute value of the common ratio, or r, is bigger than 1, bigger than or equal to 1, then that means you just diverges by the geometric test and you're all set. If the common ratio is less than 1, you just want to find this sum right here using the infinite geometric series formula that you learned back last year in pre-calculus, and then just write down converges by geometric test and you're all set. So that's just setting up for these problems. That's the end of this video here, and we'll come back in a minute and do the second one. Do the first